Welcome back, my friend. Today is not just another podcast episode. It's a conversation you've probably needed for a long time. Not the kind that comes from textbooks or office trainings, but the kind of talk you wish someone had with you years ago. Because here's the truth. Most of us were never taught how to build a meaningful career. We were told to go to school, get a degree, and hope for the best. But nobody told us how to deal with rejection. Nobody explained what it means to pivot. Nobody showed us how to manage our energy, build our brand, or trust our gut. And yet, those are the things that shape your career far more than a resume ever will. So today, I want to walk with you through 12 career lessons that can truly change your life. Lessons built from real experience. Lessons that don't just sound good, they work. They've helped people build better jobs, stronger confidence, and lives with purpose. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being ready for the next level of your journey. Because your career isn't just what you do for money. It's how you grow, how you contribute, and how you shape your future. So, take a deep breath. Let go of the pressure to figure everything out at once. We'll go one lesson at a time. Let's begin. Tip 1. Focus on skills, not just degrees. There was once a young man named Leo. He graduated from a top university. His degree was impressive, but after 6 months of applying for jobs, he had nothing. Not a single offer. Every rejection email said something like, "Great academic background, but we're looking for more hands-on experience." Or, "We're prioritizing candidates with proven skills in the field." He felt crushed. What's the point of all that study, he asked himself, if nobody even cares? And maybe you felt that too. Like the piece of paper you worked so hard for doesn't carry the weight you thought it would. Here's the truth no one tells you. A degree gets you to the door, but skills are what unlock it. Today's world doesn't just value what you know. It values what you can do with what you know. Can you solve a problem? Can you think creatively? Can you use a tool, write a clear message, build a project, lead a team, adapt to change? That's what employers in life are really asking for. Degrees are helpful, but they're not a guarantee. And in many cases, they're just one piece of the puzzle. Let's take another example. Maya never went to university. She didn't have the time or the money. But she taught herself video editing using free tools online. She practiced every night after her day job. She volunteered to help a small business edit social media clips. She watched tutorials, took free online classes, asked questions, and 6 months later she had a portfolio, not a degree. But proof, and that proof her skills got her noticed. One video led to a client. That client led to more referrals. Eventually, Maya became a full-time freelance editor, earning more than most entry-level graduates in her city. No fancy papers, just practical value. Now, I'm not saying degrees are bad. They can be powerful. They can give you access, structure, community. But in the real world, especially today, you must pair it with actionable skills. So if you're listening to this and thinking, "I don't have a degree," don't feel small. Feel hungry. Because your value is not in the certificate, it's in your effort, your growth, your results. And if you do have a degree, don't stop there. Keep learning, keep building. Turn your knowledge into something visible, something useful, something real. Because at the end of the day, skills speak louder than grades, and they will open doors your resume can't. So if you want to grow your career, ask yourself this: what can I actually do well? What can I build, improve, or solve? What am I curious enough to learn without being told to? Because that's the path that leads you forward. Focus on skills and you'll never stay stuck. Tip 2. Network. 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 Let's talk about something that scares a lot of people. Networking. Now, I get it. The word itself can feel fake. It sounds like a business card, like you're supposed to talk to people just to get something. But real networking, the kind that changes your life, isn't about using people. It's about connecting with them. Let me tell you a story. There was a quiet woman named Sari. She worked in a small office, did her job well, never caused trouble, and never stood out. She was smart, kind, capable. But years passed, and nothing changed. No promotions, no recognition, no invitations to work on bigger projects. She started to wonder, am I invisible? Then one day, she went to a professional event. She almost didn't go. She hated crowds, didn't like talking to strangers. She didn't even know what to say. But she went anyway, and she did one small thing. She asked the woman next to her, "Hi, I'm sorry, what do you do?" That one question started a conversation. That conversation led to coffee a few days later. That coffee led to an introduction to someone at another company. 3 months later, Sari was working in a new job, with better pay and a team that actually noticed her. All from one tiny interaction. Now you might say, that's lucky, but it's not. That's what happens when you show up. People help people they know. People refer people they trust. People open doors for people they like and remember. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if nobody knows you exist, opportunities pass you by. So what is networking really? It's not asking for favors. It's not pretending to be someone you're not. It's this: curiosity, kindness, consistency. Ask people about themselves. Listen more than you speak. Offer to help before you ask for help. And stay in touch. Not just when you need something. Here's another example. David wanted to work in marketing, but he had no experience, no portfolio, no contacts. He started following marketing experts on LinkedIn. He liked their posts, commented with real thoughts, shared a few ideas of his own. He didn't ask for a job. He just showed up with value. Duane Czar. 2 months, one of those people messaged him directly. "Hey, David, I've noticed your comments. You've got great insight. Want to help us with a campaign?" Boom. First freelance gig, first testimonial, first client on his resume. Not because he begged, but because he connected. Here's the career secret no one teaches in school. Your network is more powerful than your resume. Why? Because people remember how you make them feel. They remember your energy, your curiosity, your kindness. And when something comes up, they remember you. So how do you build a strong network? Let's break it down. Step 1. Start with who you know. You don't have to reach out to celebrities or CEOs. Start with people around you. Old classmates, teachers, friends of friends. Send a message. "Hey, I always appreciated how focused you were in school. What are you working on these days?" That message could start something. Step 2. Join where people gather. Facebook groups, LinkedIn communities, free online events, local meetups. You don't even need to be loud. Just show up, be kind, ask thoughtful questions. The world notices. People who care. Step 3. Give before you ask. Most people only message when they want something. Don't be like that. Instead, ask, how can I help this person succeed? Maybe you share their post. Maybe you connect them to someone. Maybe you just listen. That builds real trust. Step 4. Be consistent. Networking isn't a one-time favor. It's a long-term connection. Check in with people every few months. Share an article they'd like. Say, "Hey, this reminded me of our conversation." Tiny gestures build strong bridges. Now you might say, "But I'm shy. I don't like talking to people." You're not alone. But networking doesn't mean performing. It just means being present. Smile, listen, ask genuine questions, and slowly something amazing will happen. People will remember you. They'll think of you when a job comes up, when a client needs help, when an opportunity opens. And that's when your career moves forward. Not because of luck, but because you built the right relationships. So ask yourself, who do I need to reconnect with? Who inspires me that I haven't talked to? Where can I start showing up today, even just online? Because your next big opportunity, it might not come from an application. It might come from a simple conversation. Network, network, network. It's not about being perfect. It's about being visible, being kind, being ready. And you are. Tip 3. Learn to handle rejection. Gracefully, let's be honest. Nobody likes rejection. It stings. It shakes your confidence. Sometimes it makes you question everything you thought you were good at. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't the end. It's redirection. And once you understand that, your career will never be the same. There was a woman named Hannah. She applied to her dream job, a content creator for a big company. She researched for weeks, crafted the perfect resume, designed a unique portfolio, and even filmed a short pitch video. She felt good, confident, ready. But a week later, she got the dreaded email. Thank you for applying, but we've decided to move forward with another candidate. No feedback, no explanation, just silence. Hannah cried that night, not because she was weak, but because she cared. She had put her whole heart into that opportunity, and it still wasn't enough. For days, she replayed the rejection in her head. What did I do wrong? Am I not good enough? Maybe I should just stop trying. But after the tears, after the silence, she made a choice to keep going. She reached out politely to ask for feedback. She reviewed her pitch video. She asked 3 people for honest advice on her portfolio. Then she applied again to a different company with new confidence. And this time she got the job. Not the original one, but one even better. A smaller brand, yes, but with more freedom, more growth, and more heart. Later, her manager told her, "Honestly, we loved how you responded to rejection. We saw your blog post about it. That showed maturity. And just like that, rejection became her advantage." You see, every rejection has 2 sides. The first side is pain. It feels like loss, like failure, like you're not enough. But the second side, that's where the magic is. Because rejection is often protection. It closes doors you were not meant to enter. It reroutes you to something better, something more you. Now let's get practical. Here are 5 ways to handle rejection gracefully and grow from it. 1. Feel it but don't live in it. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to be frustrated. But don't build a house in that emotion. Let yourself feel it and then let it pass. Say to yourself, "This hurts, but it doesn't define me." 2. Separate identity from outcome. You are not your job. 3. You are not your last interview. You are not one moment of someone saying no. A rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply one opinion from one company. In one moment of time. It's not the full story. 3. Ask for feedback, even if you don't get it. Politely reach out and say, "Thank you for considering me. If you have any feedback for how I can improve, I'd greatly appreciate it." You won't always get a reply. But when you do, it's gold. And even if they don't respond, you're training yourself to seek growth instead of shutting down. 4. Document the lesson. Keep a journal. Write down what you learned from each no, Was it your preparation, your mindset, the timing? There's always a lesson. And if you collect them, you'll grow faster than 90% of people. 5. Keep showing up. This one matters most. Don't disappear. Don't go silent. Don't let one no stop you from your next yes. You only lose when you stop trying. Let me share one more quick story. There was a guy named Jay. He wanted to work as a motivational speaker, but every event organizer said the same thing. You're not experienced enough. You're not famous. No one knows your name. He was rejected 27 times in 1 year, but he didn't stop. He started speaking for free at local schools. He shared his speeches on YouTube. He kept going, even when no one clapped. Today, Jay speaks at global events. His videos have millions of views. Why? Because he didn't let rejection decide his future. If you're listening right now and you're feeling stuck, maybe you've been told no so many times that you've stopped asking. Please hear this. You are not your rejection. You are more than the opportunities you didn't get. You are more than the rooms you weren't invited into. You are learning, you are building, you are getting ready for something better. So next time rejection comes, say this to yourself. I am still growing, and something better is coming for you, and then keep going, because your next yes is closer than you think. Tip 4. Take risks and embrace failure. Let's talk about something most people try to avoid. Failure. And let's be real. Nobody wakes up saying, I hope I fail today. But here's the secret no one tells you. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. And the people who win big, they're not the ones who always succeed. They're the ones who keep showing up, even when they fall. Let me tell you about Liam. Liam wanted to start a small design business. He loved creating logos. He had talent. So he saved up for months, bought a basic laptop, and started reaching out to clients. The first 10 people said no. The next 5 didn't respond. One person even told him, "Your style looks amateur. I'd never pay for this." Liam was crushed. For a moment he thought about deleting everything, but he didn't. Instead, he did something powerful. He failed forward. He went online, studied better design techniques. He asked 5 professionals to critique his work. He practiced them every night, and slowly his designs improved. He got his first paying client, then another, and another. 2 years later, Liam was fully booked. His clients loved him. His style evolved. And guess what? He still remembered that one painful rejection. But now, he was grateful for it, because it pushed him to grow. Here's the truth. If you want a career that excites you, challenges you, grows you, you will fail. You will mess up. You will take risks that don't work. You will hear no. You will feel embarrassed sometimes. But you will also learn, and that learning is priceless. Here's what most people never realize. Every risk you take teaches you something. Every failure sharpens your skill. Every mistake makes you stronger, if you let it. And often the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your fear of looking stupid. Let that sink in. The thing that stops most people from chasing their dreams isn't money or talent. It's the fear of failing publicly. The fear of someone saying, "See, I told you it wouldn't work." But guess what? Those people are not living your life. They don't have to wake up with your dreams. You do. And if you keep waiting until everything feels safe, you'll never do anything bold. Let's break this down into practical truth. 1. Every career requires risk. You want to change jobs? That's a risk. You want to start a new project? That's a risk. You want to grow your side hustle? Risk. Again. But so is staying stuck, because staying safe may feel secure. but it often means missing out on the life you could have had. 2. Failure is feedback. Did a plan flop? Good. Now you know what doesn't work. Did you speak up and it didn't land? Good. Now you know how to say it better next time. Did you launch something and nobody noticed? That's okay. Look at what can change. Adjust. Try again. The people who succeed the most fail the most. They just don't quit. 3. Fear is a compass. Here's a mindset shift. If something scares you a little, but excites you a lot, it's probably worth doing. Fear means you're on the edge of something new, something that matters. Don't run from it. Lean in. I'll share another story. This one's short but powerful. A young woman named Mai wanted to apply for a job she didn't feel qualified for. The posting said, must have 5 years of experience. She only had 2. Must speak excellent English. Hers was okay, not perfect. Her brain said, don't apply, you'll embarrass yourself. But her heart whispered, what if they say yes? She applied. And guess what? They hired her, not because she had every qualification, but because she had the courage to show up. She said in her interview, I know I don't meet all your requirements, but I'm willing to learn faster than anyone you've ever hired. That sentence sealed it. Here's what I want you to know. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to move forward with fear. Take the risk. Apply anyway. Start the project, post the video, send the message, try the new thing. Because even if you fail, you've already won. You've grown, you've learned, you've stretched, you've become someone bolder, and no one can take that away from you. So let me ask you, what have you been too afraid to try? What's one thing you've been waiting for the perfect moment to start? What would you do if you weren't scared of failure? Because your dream doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be brave. One step, one action, one small risk today. That's how you build the life you were meant for. Take the risk, embrace the failure, and keep going. Tip 5. Find a mentor. There's a powerful truth that most people overlook in their career journey. You don't have to do it alone. And yet, so many of us try. We try to figure it all out by ourselves. We struggle in silence. We think, asking for help makes us weak and are less professional. But the opposite is true. The people who grow the fastest, who succeed with more confidence, who make smarter decisions, they usually have one thing in common. They found a mentor. Let me tell you a story about Ari. Ari was a young teacher in her first year. She had passion. She loved her students. But she was overwhelmed. Late nights, endless grading, constant self-doubt. And she began to feel like she was failing. Quietly, slowly, but surely. One day, after class, she stayed behind and asked the older teacher next door, "Can I ask you something? How do you do this without falling apart?" That one honest question changed everything, because that older teacher, Miss Nara, didn't give her a lecture. She gave her a chair. She said, "Sit down. Let's talk." Week after week, they met. Over tea, in quiet hallways, before staff meetings. And Miss Nara didn't just give advice. She gave perspective. She shared mistakes. She taught Ari how to handle tough students, how to protect her energy, how to last in this field. Ari didn't just become a better teacher. She became a stronger woman. All because she asked one question. That's what a mentor does. A mentor is not someone perfect, not someone with all the answers. A mentor is someone who's been there and is willing to walk beside you. They help you see what you can't see yet. They remind you that you're not alone. And sometimes, they believe in you before you. Believe in yourself. So how do you find a mentor? Let me walk you through it step by step. 1. Look for someone one step ahead of you. A mentor doesn't need to be a celebrity or CEO. You don't need someone with 30 years of experience. Just someone who's a few steps further than you, in your field, your mindset, or your journey. Someone who remembers what it felt like to be you. 2. Ask with respect and clarity. Don't say, "Can you be my mentor?" That's too vague. And honestly, a bit overwhelming. Instead, say something like, "Hi, I really admire the way you describe something specific. I'm trying to grow in that area myself. Would you be open to a short conversation where I could ask a few questions?" That feels human. It feels intentional, and it usually opens the door. 3. Show up prepared and grateful. If someone gives you their time, treat it like gold. Be prepared. Ask real questions. Take notes. Don't waste their time. And always, always follow up with a thank you. Even a short message saying, "I appreciated your advice. I tried what you said, and it helped." That builds trust. 4. Be open to mentorship in many forms. Some mentors you meet in person. Others, you'll find them in books, in podcasts, in interviews, in quiet moments of learning. Don't limit mentorship to formal titles. Sometimes your mentor is a voice you return to again and again, even if they never know your name. Find voices that lift you up, that challenge your thinking, that help you grow. Let me tell you another quick story. Jamal was working in IT. He felt stuck, bored, and like he had hit a ceiling. Instead of quitting right away, he started volunteering at a startup on weekends. There, he met an older developer named Ty. Ty didn't just teach him code. He taught him how to think like a builder, how to take initiative, how to communicate his ideas clearly. After 3 months, Ty recommended Jamal for a full-time role at a much better company. That one connection changed Jamal's whole life, and it started with 3 words. Can I help? Here's the truth. Mentorship multiplies your growth. It gives you shortcuts. Not shortcuts in effort, but in wisdom. You learn from someone else's mistakes, so you don't have to repeat them. You gain confidence by hearing, "I struggled with that too." You move faster because you're not walking blind. But here's something even more beautiful. One day, you will be the mentor to someone younger, someone searching, someone who needs what you've learned the hard way. And when that moment comes, and don't hold back. Give freely. Speak gently. Pass the light forward. Because careers are not built in silence. They're built in connection, in questions, in stories, in the courage to say, "Can you help me?" So ask yourself, who do I admire that I could learn? From what's stopping me from reaching out? And how can I start becoming the kind of person who others can lean on too? Because in this world, we rise by lifting each other. Find a mentor, and be one. It might just change everything. Tip 6. Don't be afraid to pivot. Let's talk about a scary word. Change. Specifically, changing direction, changing your job, changing your field, changing your mind. We call it pivoting, and while the world celebrates people who stay on one path, sometimes the bravest thing you can do in your career is take a different turn. Let me tell you about someone who did. Tina had always wanted to be a doctor. Since she was 10, she told everyone, "I'll be a doctor one day." She studied hard, got into med school, wore the white coat, worked in hospitals for 4 years. But deep down, something felt off. She still cared about helping people, deeply, but she was exhausted. Not just physically, but spiritually. She started to feel like she was living a version of herself that wasn't real anymore. At first, she ignored it. Then she felt ashamed. How can I quit after everything I've done? What will my family think? This has been my identity for years. But finally, she asked a question that changed everything. What if I'm allowed to change? Not because she was weak, not because she failed, but because she grew. Tina pivoted. She didn't throw her past away. She used her experience and transitioned into public health education. She now helps people through storytelling, digital media, and wellness workshops. Same heart, new path. She's still healing people, but in a way that feels true to her now. And guess what? She's happier, healthier, and finally at peace. Here's the truth we need to talk about. Pivoting is not quitting. Pivoting is choosing again with more wisdom. And careers are not straight lines, they're seasons. Each season teaches you something and leads you somewhere new. So why do people fear it? Because we attach identity to our path. I'm a lawyer. I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. I'm an engineer. But those are roles, not definitions. You are more than your job title. You are a growing, evolving human being. You're allowed to change. Here are 5 signs it may be time to pivot, and that it's okay. 1. You feel drained, not challenged. Every job has tough days, but if you feel empty for months, that's not a phase. That's your soul asking for something new. When energy disappears, growth stops. 2. You feel out of alignment with your values. You used to love your work, but now the culture feels off. The mission doesn't excite you. You feel like you're faking enthusiasm. That means your heart has moved on, even if your feet haven't. 3. You daydream about a different future. In quiet moments, you picture yourself elsewhere, in another job, another city, another rhythm. That's not just fantasy, that's vision trying to speak to you. 4. You've stopped learning. The spark is gone. You're not challenged anymore. You're just clocking. And clocking out, that's a sign your potential is being underused and it's time to grow again. 5. You stay because you're afraid to leave. And that's the hardest one. Because if fear is the only reason you're still here, you're already halfway gone. Now don't get me wrong. Pivoting doesn't mean being impulsive. You don't have to quit everything overnight. But it means honoring what's true inside you and slowly walking toward it. With courage, with curiosity, with care. Let me give you another story. This one's from someone you might recognize. Before Oprah Winfrey became the woman we all know, she was a news anchor. She was good at it, but it never felt like home. She was told she was too emotional for the job, that she didn't fit the mold. Eventually, she was let go. It could have destroyed her. But instead, it released her. She found her voice not by staying in news, but by pivoting to daytime talk. And from there, everything changed. Her whole life's impact began with a pivot. So here's the question. What if the version of you that you're holding on to is blocking the version of you you're meant to become? What if letting go is actually the bravest move? Not because you failed, but because you've outgrown the old story. You are not a machine, you are a soul. And you have permission to shift, to adjust, to reimagine your life. You are allowed to say, that path was right for who I was, but now I'm becoming someone new. So how do you pivot with power? Here's how. Start with reflection. Ask, what excites me now? What drains me? Explore safely. Try side projects, online learning, or volunteering. Talk to people already doing what you're curious about. Save a little money to reduce fear. And then, when the time feels right, take one step forward. Not a leap, just a step. You don't have to see the whole map, just the next sign. And if you're listening to this, and your heart is quietly saying, I think I need to change. I want you to know. You're not wrong. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're just becoming. So trust that voice. Trust your season. And if you need to pivot, do it. Your next chapter is waiting. Tip 7. Invest in your personal brand. Let me ask you something simple, but important. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? That's not gossip. That's your personal brand. Now don't let the words scare you. You don't need a logo. You don't need to be famous. You don't even need a website. But you do need to understand this. In today's world, your personal brand is your professional reputation, and it can open doors faster than any degree. Let's break it down. Imagine you're looking at 2 job applications. Both candidates are qualified. Both went to good schools. Both have decent experience. But one of them has a blog where they share insights about the industry. They post regularly on LinkedIn. They've spoken at a small online event. They've even helped others grow. Who do you think stands out exactly? The one who's already visible. The one who's already sharing value. That's what personal branding is about, not self-promotion, but strategic visibility. Let me tell you a story about Ron. Ron worked in software engineering. Quiet, smart, consistent. He did great work, but nobody outside his company knew it. One day he decided to post a short article on LinkedIn. It was titled, 5 Lessons I Learned in My First Year as a Developer. It was honest, clear, simple. The post got 20 likes, not viral, not crazy, but one of those likes came from a recruiter. That recruiter messaged Ron, "Would you ever consider applying for a senior role at our company?" Ron didn't apply, but that message changed something in his mind. He realized, sharing your thoughts makes you discoverable. Now he posts once a week, not for fame, but to connect, to grow, to share. That small habit boosted his visibility and his confidence. So let's get practical. How do you build a personal brand, even if you're shy, busy, or just starting? Here are the steps. 1. Know what you want to be known for. This is your anchor. Are you a great communicator, a creative problem solver, a compassionate leader, a curious learner? Pick 1-2 themes that reflect your natural strengths. Then, start shaping your content, voice, and actions around those. This creates consistency. 2. Share what you're learning. You don't have to be an expert. Just be a learner who shares openly. Did you just overcome a challenge at work? Did you learn a new tool or technique? Write about it. Talk about it. Reflect on it. People relate more to process than perfection. 3. Be present where your industry gathers. Maybe that's LinkedIn. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's a Facebook group. Maybe it's short videos or blog posts. You don't have to be everywhere. Just choose one platform and show up consistently. Say something real. Say something useful. That builds trust. Stay human. The best personal brands are not robots. They're not perfect. They're honest, clear, intentional. Let people see your voice, your values, your journey. You don't need to shout, but you do need to speak. Let me share a powerful quote I once heard. If you don't tell your story, someone else will, and they might get it wrong. That stuck with me, because the world is noisy, and people are making impressions about you all the time, with or without your input. So why not shape the story? Why not choose how you're seen? This isn't ego. This is ownership. You own your story. You own your career. You own how you show up, and your brand is the echo you leave behind. Now, a quick side note. Some people fear branding because they think, I'm not special enough to share. I don't have anything unique. But let me tell you this. Your voice is unique. Your experience is valuable. Your perspective matters. There are people right now who need to hear what you've lived through, what you've overcome, what you've learned the hard way. Don't keep it all inside, share, and watch what happens. So let me ask you now, if someone Googled your name, what would they find? If a recruiter saw your profile, what would they learn about you beyond the resume? If your coworker described you to someone else, what would they say? If those answers make you pause, good. That means you're about to get intentional. Start today. One post, one insight, one quiet contribution to the world. And over time, you'll build something powerful, a brand that speaks even when you're silent. Invest in your personal brand, because your future self will thank you. Tip 8. Develop emotional intelligence. Let's talk about a kind of intelligence that doesn't show up on test scores, but can change your entire career and your life. It's called emotional intelligence, not IQ, not book smarts, but the ability to understand people, to manage your own emotions, to respond instead of react, to build trust, handle pressure, communicate clearly. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is often the real difference between people who move forward and people who stay stuck. Let me tell you about Mikkel. He worked in customer service. Not glamorous, not high-paid, but he was excellent, not just because he solved problems, but because of how he made people feel. He listened, really listened. Even when people were rude, angry, frustrated, he stayed calm. He validated their feelings. He didn't get defensive. He didn't take it personally. And because of that, customers loved him. Managers noticed. And soon Mikkel wasn't just answering phones, and he was training teams, leading projects, managing people. Why? Because technical skills got him the job. But emotional intelligence took him beyond the job. Here's the truth. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. That's why EQ matters more than ever. You could be brilliant on paper. You could have all the degrees. But if you can't handle pressure, if you explode when criticized, if you shut down during conflict, you limit your own potential. The workplace and the world runs on relationships, and EQ is the bridge. Let's break it down simply. There are 4 key areas of emotional intelligence. 1. Self-awareness. This means being able to notice your own emotions, knowing what you feel and why. Are you stressed, jealous, insecure, angry? Self-awareness says, okay, I feel this right now. Where is it coming from? It's about naming it, not hiding it, because what you don't name controls you. 2. Self-management. Once you notice your emotions, can you manage them? Can you stay calm under pressure? Can you pause before reacting? Can you breathe before responding? This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means directing them in a healthy way. Someone criticizes you at work. You want to snap, but instead you listen. Reflect. Ask questions. That's self-management, and it's a superpower. 3. Social awareness. This is empathy. The ability to read the room, to understand what someone else might be feeling without them saying it. It's noticing when your coworker is quiet in the meeting. It's hearing what's not being said in a conversation. It's adjusting your tone when someone looks overwhelmed. Empathy builds trust, and trust builds teams. 4. Relationship management. This is where it all comes together. Can you communicate clearly? Can you resolve conflict without exploding or ghosting? Can you give feedback without crushing someone's spirit? People who master this become leaders, even without the title, because people feel safe around them, heard, respected. Understood. That's emotional leadership. And it's rare, let me tell you about Ava. She was promoted to team lead, not because she was the smartest on the team, but because she knew how to bring people together. When someone missed a deadline, she didn't shame them. She asked, "Hey, is everything okay? Need support?" When two team members had a disagreement, she didn't take sides. She sat them down, helped them talk it out. When her team won, she gave them the credit. When they failed, she took responsibility. That's EQ in action, and that's why people wanted to work with her, not just for her. Now here's something important. You can learn emotional intelligence. It's not a fixed trait, it's a skill. And like any skill, it grows with practice. Here's how to start. Daily practices to build EQ. Pause before reacting. Even just 3 seconds can change everything. Journal your emotions. Ask, what did I feel today? Why? What triggered me? Practice active listening. Don't just wait to speak, really hear people. Say how you feel clearly and calmly. I felt overwhelmed when, instead of, you always make me feel, apologize when needed. Not out of guilt, but out of awareness. Reflect on conflicts. Ask, what did I contribute? What could I do differently next time? Let me share one more story. Noah was a brilliant designer, but had a reputation for being difficult. He snapped at feedback, took things personally, didn't handle pressure well. One day, after a team conflict, his manager said, "You have the skill, but until you develop emotional maturity, you'll limit yourself." It was hard to hear, but Noah took it seriously. He started therapy, read books on EQ, took time to journal, started asking for feedback and listening without defending himself. A year later, new job, higher pay, happier relationships, and most importantly, inner peace. All because he did the inner work. So let me ask you now, what's one emotional reaction you want to manage better? What relationship could improve with more empathy? How would your career grow if your EQ grew with it? Because no matter what field you're in the people business. And when you learn to manage your emotions, connect with others, and communicate well, you don't just build a better career, you build a better life. So, invest in emotional intelligence, because it's one of the most powerful tools you'll ever carry. Tip 9. Balance work and personal life. Let's slow down for a second. You're building a career, you're chasing goals, you're working hard, showing up, trying to grow. That's beautiful. That's strong, that's admirable. But let me ask you a question most people forget to ask. At what cost? Because here's the truth no one talks about enough. Work is part of your life, but it is not your whole life. And if you forget to create balance, you won't just lose energy. You'll lose yourself. Let me tell you a story about Raj. Raj was a young finance analyst. He had big dreams and a work ethic to match. He came early, stayed late, took on every task. People praised him. He's so committed. He's always available. But slowly, something started to break. He stopped calling friends, stopped going to the gym, skipped family dinners. Even on weekends, his mind was still at work. His eyes looked tired. His smile faded. He started having headaches, trouble sleeping. But he kept pushing until one day he collapsed at work. It wasn't dramatic, just a quiet drop in the hallway. Exhaustion, burnout, silence. That day became his wake-up call, because here's what Raj realized. Success without health is failure in disguise. Success that destroys your peace is not success at all. So he made changes, small at first. One evening walk, one unplugged Sunday, one no to a non-urgent request. And over time, he rebuilt himself, still successful. Still ambitious, but no longer empty. So let's talk honestly. Because maybe you're on that edge too. Maybe you've been pushing too hard, skipping meals, missing sleep, always on, always available. Let me say this clearly. You don't have to earn your worth through exhaustion. You don't need to be constantly busy to prove you're serious. You don't need to burn yourself out to move ahead. In fact, the opposite is true. The people who create balance last longer. They think clearer, they lead better, they enjoy more, they live fully. What does balance really mean? It doesn't mean everything is perfect. It doesn't mean work is always light. Balance means intentional boundaries. It means making room for yourself, not just your deadlines. Let's break it down. 1. Protect your time off. When you're off, be off. No checking emails in bed, no replying to messages at the dinner table, no quick updates during family time. You deserve rest, not as a reward but as a basic human need. Rest is not lazy. Rest is wise. 2. Schedule joy like meetings. Don't just schedule work. Schedule play, laughter, friends, music, walks. Put it in your calendar if you have to. Because what gets scheduled gets done. You don't need to earn joy, you just need to make space for it. 3. Define your enough. Without boundaries, work expands endlessly. So ask yourself, what is enough for today? When will I stop? What does success look like before midnight? Set a limit. Respect it. Because if you don't choose your boundaries, someone else will choose them for you. 4. Communicate your limits. Talk to your boss, your team, your clients. Let them know when you're available and when you're not. Clear communication creates trust, and you don't need to apologize for needing time off. Remember, people don't respect silence. They respect clarity. 5. Listen to your body. Your body is smarter than your schedule. It tells you when you need rest, when you need water, when you need movement. If you ignore it long enough, it will start screaming. So listen early. Honor it now, before it forces you to stop. Let me share one more story. Layla was a startup founder, driven, visionary, high performance. But after 3 years of non-stop work, she found herself crying in the bathroom after a successful product launch. Not because something went wrong, but because she felt nothing. She said, "I built a business I love, but I lost myself in the process." So she did something radical. She took a full month off, no emails, no calls, just rest, reflection, reset. And when she returned, she didn't lose her business. She actually made it better, because she was better, clearer, softer, stronger, brighter. So here's the real lesson. Your well-being is your greatest asset. It fuels your focus. It powers your ideas. It protects your passion. Balance isn't weakness, balance is wisdom. So let me ask you now, when was the last time you rested without guilt? When was the last time you said no to protect your energy? What would your life look like if balance became a priority, not an afterthought? Because you deserve a career that grows you, not one that drains you. You deserve a life with laughter, love, health, and peace. You deserve to succeed and to sleep. So from now on, balance your work, protect your life, and take care of you because you are the foundation, and you can't build anything great if you fall apart. Tip 10. Stay curious and keep learning. Let me start with a powerful truth. The moment you stop learning is the moment your growth begins to slow down, not just your career, but your confidence, your creativity, your sense of possibility. And here's what's wild. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have, how long you've been doing your job, or how much success you've already had. If you stop being curious, you stop evolving. Let me tell you a story about Dara. Dara had been working in marketing for 10 years. She was good at it, respected, experienced, reliable. But one day, her company brought in a younger team member, fresh out of school, who introduced a new content strategy using AI tools. Dara didn't understand it. At first, she rolled her eyes. "I've been doing this for a decade. I don't need new tricks." But as months passed, that younger team member's results outperformed hers. Faster turnaround, more engagement, better data. Dara felt angry, and then ashamed. She realized something: she hadn't grown, she'd only repeated. The tools had changed, the world had shifted, but she hadn't kept up. Instead of quitting, Dara got curious. She started reading articles, watched free tutorials, asked questions, even if they made her feel behind. And you know what happened? She caught up. Then she moved ahead. Because now she had something powerful: experience and curiosity, and that's unstoppable. Here's the truth. Your curiosity is your edge, not perfection, not age, not connections. Curiosity keeps you light, agile, open, ready for what's next, and in a world that's changing faster than ever. Curiosity is how you keep up and stay ahead. Let's talk about how to grow it, because curiosity isn't just a trait, it's a practice. It's a way of seeing the world. Here are a few ways to build it every day. 1. Ask why. More often, why is this done this way? Why do people think like this? Why does this idea work? Questions are the root of innovation. Don't just accept answers. Challenge them. Be the one who looks deeper. 2. Read outside your comfort zone. If you're in tech, read about psychology. If you're in finance, read about design. If you're in education, read about business. You'll start to see new patterns, new ideas, new ways to solve problems that others never thought of. Cross-disciplinary curiosity is where breakthroughs happen. Listen to people with different views, not just the ones who agree with you, but the ones who challenge you, stretch you, confuse you. You don't have to adopt every opinion, but exposing yourself to new thinking makes your brain more flexible. And in work, flexibility is power. 4. Learn from mistakes without shame. When something goes wrong, don't shut down. Get curious. What happened? What could I try differently? What's the lesson here? Curiosity turns failures into teachers, and that's how you grow faster than anyone else. 5. Be a beginner again on purpose. Start a new hobby. Join a free course. Explore a new tool. Say, I don't know, but I want to learn. That feeling of stretching your mind is what keeps you young, engaged, alive. Let me share another story. Omar was a successful architect. 20 years in the field. Dozens of awards. Everyone knew his name. But secretly he felt bored. He knew all the rules, all the techniques. He wasn't growing. He was just repeating. Until one day he visited a museum with a display of Japanese wood. Joinery, he was blown away. The beauty, the precision, the philosophy. He started studying it, not for work, but for wonder. Months later, those techniques began inspiring his designs. Clients noticed, awards returned. But more than anything, Omar felt alive again, all because he followed curiosity, and it brought his career back to life. Here's what I want to say to you from the heart. You are never done learning, Not if you want to keep evolving. Not if you want to stay sharp. Not if you want your work to stay exciting. Curiosity is what turns your job into a journey, instead of just a task. It's what keeps your mind open, your heart soft, your energy fresh. So don't let your knowledge become a cage. Let it be a foundation for something even greater. Let me ask you now, what's something you've always wanted to learn but never made time for? What's one question you've been too afraid to ask? What would happen if you gave yourself permission to explore again? Because the smartest people aren't the ones who have all the answers. They're the ones who keep asking better questions. And you're one question away from your next big breakthrough. Stay curious, keep learning, and never ever stop growing. Tip 11. Embrace diversity and different perspectives. Let me ask you something powerful. Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, or just people who agree with you? Because if everyone in the room thinks the same, you're not in a room built for growth. You're in an echo chamber. And in your career and in life, one of the most important things you can ever do is this: embrace diversity. Welcome different perspectives, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it's the smartest thing you can do. Let me tell you about Lena. Lena was a team leader at a creative agency. Her team was tight-knit. Everyone came from similar backgrounds. They spoke the same slang, watched the same shows, shared the same worldview. Things were easy and comfortable. But one day, the agency brought in a new intern from another country. He was quiet, observant, different. At first, the team didn't include him, not on purpose, but because he didn't fit the usual vibe. But one day, during a pitch meeting, he made a small comment that changed everything. He said, "Maybe that ad won't work in other cultures. In my hometown, that message would be seen as disrespectful." The room went quiet. Lena realized something huge. They had built a creative system that worked, but only for people like them. And if they wanted to grow, to serve a wider audience, they needed new eyes, new voices, new experiences. That intern ended up helping them land their first global campaign, all because someone dared to see things differently. Here's the truth. Sameness feels safe, but diversity makes us strong. Different perspectives lead to better ideas, stronger strategies, more thoughtful decisions, more human leadership. And in your career, whether you're leading a team or just trying to grow personally, embracing diversity will stretch you in ways nothing else can. So what does it look like? It means listening to people from different cultures, different ages, different industries, different religions, different identities, different upbringings, different ways of thinking. It means replacing judgment with curiosity. Instead of, "That's wrong," ask, "That's different. Can you help me understand it?" It means giving others a voice, especially when they're not the loudest in the room. It means holding space for disagreement, without disrespect. And it means growing, not by being the smartest, but by being open. Here are 5 ways to be. Bring more diversity and perspective into your career, starting today. 1. Invite different voices into your circle. Look at your current circle, your team, your peers, your mentors. Are they all just like you? If so, it's time to expand. Follow people online who see the world differently. Talk to colleagues in different departments. Be the one who says, "Let's hear another point of view." 2. Replace assumption with genuine questions. Don't assume you know someone's experience. Ask them. Listen deeply. Say, "What's that like for you? What do you see that I might be missing? What helps you feel understood?" Those questions change lives. Speak up for those who are often silenced, in meetings, in projects, in systems. If someone's voice is being ignored, amplify it. If someone shares a new idea, back it up. If someone is interrupted, circle back to them. That's leadership, even without a title. 4. Reflect on your own bias and stay humble. We all have blind spots. We've all been shaped by where we come from. That's okay. What matters is the willingness to grow. When you feel uncomfortable, pause. Ask yourself, am I defending my perspective or learning a new one? Celebrate the discomfort of learning. Yes, embracing. Diversity can feel awkward. You might say the wrong thing. You might get corrected. But that's okay. The goal is not to be perfect. It's to be present, to learn, to keep trying, to show up with respect. Let me share one more story. Juan was a manager in a tech company. Brilliant, structured, logical. But his team felt disconnected. Turnover was high, engagement was low. One day he sat down with an HR consultant. She asked him, "How well do you know your team beyond their job titles?" That question shook him. He started asking about people's lives, their families, their hobbies, their values. He brought in cross-cultural training, opened anonymous feedback forms, created space for people to bring all of who they were to work. And slowly the culture changed. People felt seen, felt safe, felt heard. Juan didn't become softer. He became stronger, because diversity didn't weaken his team. It woke them up. So let me ask you, when was the last time you asked someone to teach you their point of view? Who around you is being overlooked and needs an invitation? What would your career look like if you led with curiosity and inclusion? Because diversity is not just a checkbox. It's a mindset, a mirror, a muscle. And the more you build it, the more powerful your leadership becomes. So embrace difference, welcome discomfort, learn from everyone, and build a career and a life that sees the full picture. Tip 12. Trust your gut instincts. There's a voice inside you. It's quiet, but it's always there. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It just knows. That voice? It's called intuition. Your inner compass. Your gut instinct. And in your career and in your life, you need to learn how to listen to it. Because while logic can guide you, your gut knows things the mind hasn't fully processed yet. Let me explain. There was a man named Sean. He had 2 job offers on the table. One was high-paying, high-status, sleek office, amazing benefits. The other was a small, growing company. Less money, more heart, more uncertainty. Everyone told him, "Take the first job, it's obvious." It's a no-brainer. Anyone would kill for that offer. But Sean had a strange feeling in his stomach, a heaviness he couldn't explain it. But the first job felt wrong. He tried to reason it out, but every time he pictured himself at that company, something inside him whispered, "This isn't you." And so he listened. He took the smaller job. Fast forward 3 years. The first company collapsed in a scandal. The second company grew, flourished, trusted him, promoted him. And Sean, he became one of their key leaders. Now, did he know all of that would happen? No, but his gut did. Because sometimes, your body senses what your brain hasn't caught up to yet. Here's what I want you to know. Your instincts are a kind of wisdom. Not loud, not always logical, but real. They are shaped by your experiences, by what you've seen, felt, survived, by the way your nervous system reacts to the world. And if you learn to tune in, instead of tuning out, you'll make better decisions than any spreadsheet ever could. But here's the problem. Most people ignore that voice. They override it. They silence it with logic, or with fear, or with other people's opinions. Have you ever said this? Something feels off, but maybe I'm overthinking. I don't know why, but this doesn't feel right. Everyone says yes, but I keep feeling no. That's your intuition. It doesn't always make sense, but it always means something. And when you don't listen, you often regret it. Let's talk about what it actually looks like to trust your gut. Pay attention to your body. Tight chest, sick stomach, buzzing nervous energy, sudden calm. Your body reacts before your brain finishes analyzing. Don't ignore the signals. Listen. Your body is trying to tell you something real. 2. Give yourself quiet space. You can't hear your intuition if your life is full of noise. Turn off the notifications. Take a walk alone. Sit with your decision. Feel it. Not just what's smart, what's true. 3. Ask, what would I choose if I weren't afraid? Fear often dresses up like logic. It says, play it safe. Don't risk it. Just do what people expect. But underneath that fear, your true answer is waiting. Trust that. 4. Practice on small decisions. Start simple. When you meet someone, how do you feel? When you walk into a room, what shifts in your energy? When someone offers you a project, do you light up or feel a subtle dread? Your intuition gets stronger the more you use it. Treat it like a muscle. 5. Don't confuse anxiety with intuition. Sometimes your gut says no. Other times your fear says run. Learn to tell the difference. Intuition feels clear, solid even when it's scary. Anxiety feels frantic, loud, restless. One grounds you. The other overwhelms you. Be still enough to know the difference. Let me tell you about Farah. She was offered a partnership role in a prestigious company. It was everything she thought she wanted, but she couldn't sleep. Every night, her chest felt heavy. Every day, her smile felt fake. She had no reason to turn it down. On paper, it was perfect. But something inside her said, this isn't where you're meant to go. She declined the offer. People called her crazy. A year later, she started her own business, and for the first time, she felt aligned with her values, her peace, her purpose, not because it was easy, but because it was hers. She trusted her gut, and it gave her something logic never could: freedom. So let me ask you, what's your gut trying to tell you right now? What have you been ignoring? Because it doesn't make sense yet. What choice would bring you peace even if it's not the popular one? Because deep down, you already know. You've always known. You just need to listen. Your intuition won't scream, it won't beg, it won't send a calendar invite. It will whisper, it will stir, it will sit patiently until you return to it. So slow down, turn inward, and trust that quiet voice inside you, because it's not here to confuse you. It's here to protect you. Trust your gut. It already knows the way. So here we are. We've walked through 12 powerful career lessons together. Not from textbooks, not from buzzwords, but from real life, from voices that echo your own, from truths that grow in the quiet parts of your day. You might be sitting in your room right now, or on your way to work, or maybe you're walking, listening, reflecting. Wherever you are, I want you to pause and take a breath, because something important just happened. You gave yourself permission to grow. You listened. You reflected. You opened your heart to new ideas, to challenges, to truths you may not have wanted to face, but needed to hear. And that, my friend, is no small thing, because this world tells you to be faster, louder, tougher, busier. But you chose to be real, to ask deeper questions, to slow down long enough to see who you're becoming. And now, you're not the same person who started this episode. You're wiser, clearer, more grounded. More you. Let's take a moment and remember the journey. You learned to focus on skills, not just degrees, because the world rewards what you can do, not just what you studied. You discovered the power of networking, not to take, but to connect, to build real human bridges. You faced the pain of rejection and saw how it can become your greatest redirection. You dared to take risks, to embrace failure not as an enemy, but as a trusted guide. You reached out for mentorship, because no one climbs alone and wisdom is meant to be shared. You gave yourself permission to pivot, to change your mind, your direction, your path, not out of weakness, but growth. You invested in your personal brand, learning how to shape your voice and let your value be seen. You explored emotional intelligence and realized the strongest people are often the softest, the ones who can lead with calm, not chaos. You reclaimed your work-life balance, learning that burnout isn't bravery, and rest is not a reward, but a responsibility. You promised to stay curious because learning isn't a chapter, it's the whole book. You embraced diversity and different perspectives, understanding that real strength is found not in sameness, but in seeing the world through many eyes. And finally, you remembered how to trust your gut, that quiet inner compass that has always been whispering. This is the way. So now, what happens next? That part is up to you, because none of these lessons work without action, without choice, without courage. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to take one honest step, one new conversation, one better boundary, one risk, one truth, one yes to the life that's calling you. And I promise you, that's enough, because careers aren't built in leaps. They're built in layers. One lesson at a time, one mistake at a time, one brave choice at a time. If you feel scared, that's okay. It means you care. If you feel behind, that's okay too. It means you're waking up. If you feel inspired, even just a little, hold on to that. Nurture it. Don't let the noise of the world make you forget what you just heard inside yourself, because inside of you, there's wisdom, there's fire, there's purpose, there's a future that wants to be written, and no one else can write it but you. So take the first step. Whisper it if you have to, crawl if you need to, but move forward. You've got this, and I'm proud of you. Thank you for listening to this episode. If this podcast helped you, even in the smallest way, share it with a friend who needs to hear these words. Subscribe to the channel. Come back anytime you need a reminder of your worth, of your power, of what's possible when you live and work with heart. This is more than a podcast. This is your journey, your story, your voice, and I'm honored to walk beside you. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and never forget you are already enough. You are already becoming, and your career is just one beautiful part of your becoming.